Hi, everyone. It's Elena Wolfbrandt-Michaels here with the Earth Body Oracle podcast. I'm recording video today, so that's different, and I wish I had a different background for y'all, but things have changed in my office, and now I just have the whiteboard. And the whiteboard is, those things have been written on it for 2 months, I want to say. No idea what it says. And that is a symptom of ADHD, I'm finding. I haven't been podcasting. I think has it been 4 weeks? Has it been 6 weeks? Um, Really in a deep internal process over here. Pluto is in Aquarius right now, and it's directly opposite my sun sign, which is 5 degrees Leo, and Pluto is sitting in the sky at 5 degrees Aquarius. Um, I've had a lot of Pluto interaction in the past few years and a lot of opportunity to sit with the way Pluto feels when it's contacting you. Pluto is the planet of transformation. Pluto often takes things away to show you that you didn't really need that thing, right? So often takes things away that you want and you feel like you need and kind of says, do you though? And it sounds really rude, right? Like there's an element of, can you survive this? We're all like, oh God, can any of us survive anything else right now? Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot we're getting hit with, especially if we're on our phones a lot and taking in a lot of information or world events. But yeah, I have found in my life that this latest Pluto iteration. It's in my 10th house, and it's a lot about how I'm seen in the world. And I feel like a lot about how I interface with the world. And within that, I have really come to, we can call it embrace. A few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I realized like, okay, I have ADHD for sure. But I also felt this resistance. I have a resistance to pathologize and a resistance to, you know, getting on TikTok and being like, okay, now everybody has this thing because we're all seeing this thing and we all can find ourselves in it. Maybe not all of us. And it's funny that I'm resistant to that, considering how much I love systems of pattern recognition and typology, right? Like I have this very anti-medical system thing going and very anti, um, yeah, just using that language. And then all day, I will sit with you and be like, I'm an Enneagram 4, I'm a Leo, I'm a Taurus rising, I'm a Gemini moon, like it's just interesting the things that we will get dogmatic about, that we will align our beliefs to, and close off ourselves to other things. So I'm telling you this, one, just for like some astrological understanding. If you're like, oh yeah, okay, I've had a Pluto transit and oh, I know that it hit me like this, and just we can all compare and then understand what these things really mean. But also because I'm learning this big lesson. And I love when this happens to me, actually. I find this truly enjoyable. I don't know if all people do. But when you just have to eat humble pie, like when there's just, you see a new thing about yourself and you're like, oh, wow, shit, I was really into that and that was not serving me. And that's how I feel about this ADHD diagnosis. It's how I feel about taking, normally I talk about trauma responses. I'm really in that wellness sphere, like that part of it, and will not use words like depression. And suddenly, finding myself within the system and the reality in which I actually live on this planet, I am finding it to be a game changer to let myself really lean in to my diagnosis and really lean in to a new way of framing looking at myself, and also to eat my humble pie around people taking medications, right? I've been, like, okay, say you have a thyroid condition. I have been very like, yeah, okay, you need to take pills for that. That makes sense to me. And explore all the holistic. But I think I've made it part of my schema to make it like a personal failing and even a like bypassing our own karma if we were to ascribe to, the collective reality, the idea of, I take these medications and it raises my serotonin and blah, blah, blah. Let me start over with that because I got a notification on my phone and it distracted me. Let me turn my phone over. There we go. Yeah, I've just had this way that I've been very judgmental, and it makes a lot of sense that I've been judgmental because I tend to like put myself in an outsider position anyway. And because I've had people in my family really abuse pills and really numb out on them, right? So I have been very intensely like anti pill, but also in this way of, and I take 30 million supplements. So, like, but anyway, I have just been so anti big pharma, like from opiate crisis and vaccines, like COVID vaccines, mandates, and things like that. Like, there's ways that I have just been so anti, and my anti-ness has like bitten me in the ass, right? Like, anytime we take something to its nth degree, and I'll use trauma response out of our trauma responses generally, then we are refusing an entire world of support that maybe has something for us. So I am just feeling my newfound openness to being treated in a different way, to looking into ADHD, to, I remember seeing rejection sensitivity dysphoria somewhere and being like, oh God, like, the face I just made, right? Like disgust, like, oh God, do we have to put it like that? Like, that's not, let's just talk about trauma responses and I don't know. And then the more I look at rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria, it's like, oh, this is a reason, it's very correlated with ADHD. Like 70 to 80% of people with ADHD have rejection sensitivity dysphoria and a hard time with regulating emotions and perceived rejections. And it's just so more nuanced than I ever thought it was. And yes, it also corresponds with when you have complex PTSD. Like, there's a lot of overlap with all these things. And I'm just finding the new language incredibly helpful in my relationships with people, and my relationships with my husband, my family, and my just anytime I'm just cracked open and not as fucking judgmental. It's a good thing. And a lot of what I do with women, a lot of what I do in my tarot readings, really what I seek is just to give people this sense of support, just opening them to their spirit guides. And sometimes the spirit guides bitch slap, as I call it. And sometimes they are so compassionate, and it just kind of depends on the person's energy and what they're needing to hear in the moment, right? And I'm opening up in my own life to a different layer of support. And I will get to the tarot reading in a moment, but I just want to share that I did find a psychiatrist, and I just, how online now you can like order whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, you can just go to a therapy site and like, I want to see a psychiatrist tomorrow. Like, it's, if you are willing, and some of them take insurance, some of them don't, whatever. But it's just, it's fast. It's like, and I just had one of those moments of like, okay, I'm just going to see someone and I'm just going to ask for something, I'm going to tell them what's going on and see what happens. And I ended up finding, I found someone who was so warm and so holistic and so compassionate and a little bit older than me. So she really understood perimenopause. ADHD gets intensely so much worse in perimenopause. And it turns out I'm 44, almost 45. I've been in perimenopause, I think, since I was 41. Now that I'm looking back and going, oh, I thought it was just your period changing, but it's a lot of other things changing. Primarily for me, it's been brain fog, energy levels. Gosh, people with ADHD go into perimenopause earlier, even around age 38. It may have even been like that for me. I don't think I've had the right estrogen levels for me in my body for a really long time. But she talked about, she was just like knew her shit, and she was really willing to work with me in terms of, well, what is it that you're wanting to treat, and really, really willing to work with me in terms of my sensitivity, which was another reason I always hated pills, because I take one and I am just knocked flat on my ass, or I'm hyper or whatever, like any kind of pill. I take an ibuprofen and I'm like, I feel high, like I'm a really sensitive creature. And so there was sort of like a dual reason that, I was not a fan of medication, in medication that I felt in some way was optional, right? Like that was some sort of personal failing for me if I decided that that was the way I had to go. And, had this overlay of this spiritual advice of these medications are really bad and they'll make you not yourself, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, where do I want to go with that? It turned out for me that I did try a antidepressant slash ADHD pill. It went very badly. Like the dose was just incredibly high, and they don't make the one that I tried in a lower dose. Um, and at the same time, I was talking to people about HRT, hormone replacement therapy, which I was also very against. Like, you've got to go through the soul lessons of your menopause, perimenopause, and it's a dissolving, and well, our society doesn't support that dissolving, does it? Like, it does not. And we live a lot longer these days too. So there's a lot in there of like the spiritual wellness sphere being like, don't take HRT, don't take HRT. And I don't know if you experience that, but that's, like the kind of podcast that I generally listen to, including one I recommended lately, are they're just so anecdotal and so anti this stuff. And so like, well, you're going to take it for a while, but then it's going to go bad. And like, you're always going to need more and more. I don't know, just such a don't do it vibe. If you want to be spiritual and natural like us, then don't do it. And I'm not sure, I don't even remember the journey really. It was kind of like a whirlwind there, because the medication that I took for ADHD was so destabilizing. And then I think that's when I started looking at HRT. I got prescribed. I've been on it about a week, so I'm still in the very beginning stages. You want to stay with it a couple cycles just to see how it evens out and what your dose needs to be. Not only do I feel more myself, I mean, I cannot even tell you, like, I feel like I'm going to cry. Like, the level of resilience that I feel in this first week of being on estrogen and progesterone, the level of resilience I feel, and not just being bowed over by every emotion that I have and having to chase every emotion, chase this emotion over here, chase this emotion over there, identify with every emotion. I mean, yes, I am an Enneagram 4 and I have a lot of Cancer in my chart. But I have a skin now. I have skin, and I don't go in shame spirals every time I have experience like rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria. I don't go in like just an immediate shame spiral. It's crazy how different I feel. It's insane. And it's just like, oh, okay, did I ever have the right hormone levels in my body? I don't know if I've ever felt this way. And it's exciting. And, I read a lot of Reddit experiences, and there was this woman who stuck with me, right? She was like, I will die wearing this estrogen patch. And I feel very similarly right now, right? Like, this thing is coming with me on the whole journey. And like, can I let that be okay? can I let that be like, oh, I found support? Oh, there was something medically not going right in my body. I'm in, who knows how long I'll be in perimenopause? Who knows how long I would be in this debilitating fog without the HRT? Because my periods are like a little irregular, but not really, just like a little bit. So my mom bled until she was 54. I'm 45. Like, I can't be dissolved and on the floor and unable to serve and really like so incredibly low energy and low executive functioning. I don't want to do that for another. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do it. Um, yeah, so it's a long preamble to our reading today, and I just wanted it to reach anybody who needed to hear it or was curious. If you want to, leave a comment or email me. Obviously, I'm really, this is the beginning stages of my experience with it. And, everything does level out, but it's been night and day for me in terms of executive function, energy levels, libido, and general aliveness. Having a skin in this world where you need a fucking skin. Yeah, we need a boundary. A lot of people, or the two women I was talking to about antidepressant use, which I haven't started one of those with the HRT. I don't know if I'll need one or not, but they both felt like, oh, there's a buffer now. Yeah, like I'm so sensitive and this world is so much. And so I just want to bring in the idea that we can get support anywhere, and anywhere we get it that works for us is awesome. And yeah, there also feels like there's an apology in there to anyone who's ever felt judged by me in that, because it has been a really strong bias that I had and that I was in like an echo chamber around. And I don't know. I don't know all like the astrology. I haven't been like looking at astrology configurations every day or anything lately. So I don't know if we're all in moments of having our belief systems just like cracked and crashed over our heads. And that has definitely been a journey for me over the past couple of years. And it's teaching me to just be, it's like more open and more discerning at the same time, more open to what others are experiencing and what works for them, and more discerning about what information I take in is like real. And just because I see a headline or see an article with like a strong hook in it doesn't mean that that's real. I'll just leave that at that. Okay, let's do a reading. Thanks for listening to my HRT talk. And let's see what's here. So the new moon is on Saturday. I'm recording this on Thursday, May 14th. The new moon is Saturday, May 16th, 25 degrees Taurus. Ooh, I looked up the Sabian symbol. Do you know about these? You can look up every degree in the zodiac. You can look up every degree in your birth chart. It's pretty fun. They're called Sabian symbols. And they're these little pithy statements that kind of feel like koans. Like you can sit with them and see, like, what does that stir in me? What does that bring up in me? So say, like, I'm a 5-degree Leo sun. You might want to Google this part because I might not have the most accurate info, but I've read that you're supposed to look at the next degree unless you're like a perfect 5-degree sun. There's like 5-degree in minutes, like seconds. And then if you're, I'm like 5 degrees and maybe I'm 36 seconds or something. So I actually look at 6 degrees. So you might want to Google that part because I don't feel like, I'm like, is that exactly right? Is that what? So look at that. But I did look up the Sabian symbol for 25 degrees Taurus, which is where this new moon is. And the Sabian symbol is a large, well kept public park belonging to a tribe or community, involves us in working together towards shared goals that we all enjoy. So, participation in community responsibilities, harmony,